walking around the neighborhood, as I do. And I'm always thinking about stuff in my head, you know, trying to work something out. And I'm 15 minutes in, I'm like, I should have recorded this. You missed a great episode on gematria and scripts that I just did in my head for myself. So, fire it up, see if I get anything else. It's before noon time, my favorite time to be out here, because no one else really is. It's good. Okay, this. Huh. Walk around here. Oh, it's rental cars. It's kind of wondering what the fuck that was. Yeah, I touched on it a little bit in the last video, how everything's a script. And I got thinking around about people. And you can break their names down into numbers. Like they have a code, like for their name, you know. With gematria, you can do that shit. And that's the origin of when you say someone's got your number, because you could get someone's number. If you get someone's number, you figure it out, you can write their script, like edit their script if you know how to do that stuff. I'm really bad at gematria, so to be fair, I never really tried to understand it. It's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, I could learn about it, but I have friends and I know other people that if I really need to know something, they can help me out with it. I do that with a lot of things. I delegate learning out to other people. And that's how I keep a little knowledge about everything, but nothing too deep about anything. I like it that way. I think it makes me a more well-rounded person. But yeah, the codes in someone's name, the way that they have their own personal script, where you could, I think what I imagine, someone tried to explain this to me, you can write out how they respond to things, preferences, a little idiosyncrasies. Oh God, I don't want to walk on like kids. Hey guys, little idiosyncrasies that they have, you know. You can control all that if you know how to get their code or their number by breaking it down alphabetically. It's really wild shit. So, but the thing is, like, even if you could, if you get all that sussed out, you couldn't ever make a 95%er or 5%er, no matter what you do. Because I was thinking too, like, as far as trying to get people to understand stuff, you know, like some of the stuff we talk about here, you don't bother, you know. I always say that, you know, don't bother trying to explain yourself. It's only going to get you in trouble possibly. But yeah, you couldn't write someone out of the OS, because the OS runs the 95%, you know, and 95%, they have no souls. They're not like we are, a light being in a body, in a shell, which is what we are. So normie science, right? When they tell you, like, oh, memory is tied to, you know, this part of the brain and it stores all your whatever, it probably does. Like for those guys, our memories and our things are stored within us. Everything we have is within our light body. The only thing that the suit is for us is the mechanics. Like, you know, because whenever you like for instance, I always use this example, but whatever. If I were to whack my hand on this pole right here, what happens is an electromagnetic pulse travels up to my brain from my hand, and it tells my brain, oh, he just whacked his hand. And then the brain tells him, all right, well, go back down and activate the nerve endings, so let him, so that it'll hurt. Let him know. Now this all happens in, almost instantaneously. Almost, though. It's not real time. It's not instantaneous. It's not, so we're not in real time. We're in simulated time. Not saying we're simulation, but there are aspects of this area that are holographic and simulated. I've heard the idea that there's a layer over what appears to be the material part of the world, and this kind of layer is put over it. Not the spiritual veil, that's like a whole separate issue, but just to lay on top of the area. And the idea is that there really isn't that much space. We kind of tend to, the way things are set up, the maps, travel, highways, we're constantly going around or revisiting a much smaller area than we think we are. Just the overlay changes. That's a pretty wild concept too. Whenever someone explains this kind of shit to me, it's like I kind of half listen and I get excited about the concept and just forget all the details. So that's another thing I could tell you about, but not much about it. But yeah, everything is it's all scripted by numbers, including the people. The whole idea, like I was looking at something last night, where people, I think a lot of it too is like Klaus Schwab talked about a couple of years ago. He has his disinformation warriors. Forget what it was. They were the U2 thing. U2 is playing at the Sphere, and the display has been displayed. It's always like playing like fucking words throughout and images, and not in the venue, outside the venue, the Sphere itself, and people are getting all these hidden messages in it. Really crazy stuff. Like kill babies and that just nightmarish crap. Our people are seeing them. They slow down the footage, and it's like they have to know people are going to do that, right? So it's like another one of those things where it's like, do they want people to know? Yeah, I'd have to say yeah, because I know they're not. The guys running the show these days aren't as smart. The guys that are really running the show have always run the show. They're, for all intents and purposes, immortal. A lot of them function outside time, which is just outside this dimension, because time doesn't exist outside this dimension. And in that way, that's how these long generational plans can sometimes happen. Because evil men are not going to put time and effort and make sacrifices of all kinds into something they're not going to reap the benefits of in their lifetime. This goes against human nature. If you want to use the term human, I'm not really sure what anything is anymore, but the standard idea of what a human is. It's against human nature to do that. But if they know how to move outside this dimension, then they do. Spun Mercury, purple Huron, and spin real fast. That's why there's the flying saucer things, the Foo Fighters. That's why they're round. because they're spinning real quick, and they move out of this dimension. That's how, like, they disappear and then appear, and then that's how they move like that, because they can move outside of this 3D space, which is actually a 2D space, but your brain adds in some dimensions to make it appear to be 3D, but that's a whole nother problem. That's a whole other fucking thing that we can't avoid getting into. But yeah, they know how to move out of this dimension. That's how they can travel these great distances. And when they're outside this dimension, they're outside time. So really, some of these dudes could work up these plans, put the things in motion, and then pop back in, see how it turned out. And it didn't turn out right, they can pop back out, change it again. That's why all this evil stuff seems to be coalescing now. It's almost like, well, all these different things, you know, whether it's the social ills of immigration and destroying the cities, or it's the wars between nations, which are just all bullshit anyway. The lunar cycle, all this stuff that's getting more intense and going crazy, all seem to be coalescing and happening at this time. They can manipulate that stuff just by moving outside time. But going back to the thing about how I always say the veil's breaking down, you know, the shit's breaking down. Project Looking Glass, CIA did an info dump on it, documents, like about 5 years ago. It's a fucking slog, you know. I've had other guys, I watched other guys that have actually gone through it. But at one point, they determined that after 2012, all the different timelines, or whatever they do, however they try to change the timeline through their actions, it always ends up the same way. You know, there's no escaping what happens eventually. It all feeds into one timeline. Like, there's nothing they can do about it. No matter what changes they make or what they try to do to mess around with it, it always ends up with the same result after 2012. I think that could be what is causing the Mandela effect. All the messing around with all that shit, you know. Could be. I don't. You know, that thing is still a mystery to me. And new ones are still happening all the time. I'm just not looking at it. It's frustrating. Really frustrating. I got my dad with one though. I don't want to mess with my family with this kind of stuff, because they're not going to get it, and it's just going to make me seem even more insane than I am. But I got him to be freaked out about the Black Tom explosion, which was the first terrorist attack on U.S. soil. It's no longer 9/11. It's, well, mainland U.S. But it's no longer Pearl Harbor either. It's this thing with German saboteurs blew up a munitions munitions dump in Harbor near New Jersey, and it blew out every window in downtown Manhattan and almost destroyed the Statue of Liberty. They almost had to take it down. It got so fucked up from this thing. Of course, you know, this is the Mandela effect, so I've never heard of any of this stuff until, you know, this effect started making the rounds. But because of the incident, it brought the U.S. into World War I. They're now saying that's why we went into World War I, because of the attack by German saboteurs. It's kind of interesting that it's Germans too. It's like, haven't they demonized those people enough? You know, wrongfully, by the way. It's like, it just seems like they wrote, you know, whatever. But the thing is, yeah, he didn't know anything about that, and it kind of freaked him out when I told him about it. Did a little bit of shopping at Ross. I always mean to go in there and get like one or two things. but then like I'm confronted with all this stuff that I really don't need, but it's so, you know, inexpensive. I'm just like, I gotta have this fucking no stick pan. I don't have an oven, but I might someday. You know, it's just kind of dumb shit. And then next thing you know, you're walking out with 2 giant bags of stuff. I was trying to edit this video and I realized there's no end to it. There's no end to it. So yeah, I think I thought I was going to go back out or something. I don't know. I got to talk to my neighbor here though. So it's a quick ending. Thanks for dropping in. And as always, don't blame the teacher, blame the school.
What uppity? I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner. I can play your videos in the background while I'm typing anyway, because I have my little BS workstation over here with our loyal pooches. Anyway, God bless you. Have a good day.